Hi, welcome to episode 20, Building and Playing Scales. So we're still kind of in the boring part of this whole thing. I don't know, maybe it's all boring. Maybe none of it is boring. Maybe boringness is in the ear of the beholder. I don't know, but let's talk about scales. So I want to put it together. We talked about scales like in the abstract, and we've talked about how to spell scales, and we've talked about how to find scales on the keyboard, and we've talked about key signatures. So I want to put it all together. Let's look at this piano here, and look, there's the middle of the piano. You can tell because it's where the trademark name or the whatever that's called is. And so you find the C closest to there. Remember, there's groups of 3 and groups of 2 black keys. And the key to the left of a group of 2 is C. And the one closest to the middle of the piano is C4, or middle C. And I think I mentioned this when we were first talking about scales. If you ever forget how to make a scale, you can just copy your C scale. So your C scale, right? Do, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So this is hard to do while I'm filming. I'm also not trying to like confuse you by using actual good fingering. Talk to a piano teacher about that. I don't care how you use your fingers. And look, even if you don't have a piano, you can find a keyboard app on your phone or on your laptop or your iPad or something. You need to know the keyboard at least a little bit. It's going to help you so much, trust me. So don't worry too much if you don't know how to do the fingers right, because look, you can just hunt and peck. So if we look at that, we got a whole step, and then a whole step, and then a half, and then a whole half. Let's write this scale down. If I was going to write this scale down, I would probably write it in treble clef, what I just played. And remember, middle C is on the ledger line 1 below the staff. That's a C4. And then we just go up 1 of each letter. And since it's C, everything is natural. Everything has no sharp or flat in it. And there's your C scale. Right? Let's go around the circle of fifths and do some more. Let's write a G scale, and let's start on the keyboard for this one. So first off, I have to find a G. Here's my middle C. Why don't we go up to this G? So C, D, E, F, G. There it is. And now, if I want to play this scale, I know I need 1 of each letter. Ooh, that didn't sound right. One of those notes sounded wrong. Maybe just with your ear you can tell which one sounded wrong. Do, do, there it is. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. It's that one, and look, you can tell why. Whole, half, whole, half, whole. That's why it sounded wrong. So we have to change this F to an F sharp. So if I was going to write that scale with no key signatures, I would write it like this. G, it's the G above middle C. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Sorry, that's an F sharp. So, again, fingers. Oops, I'm starting on this G. That's better. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Let's write it with a key signature though. Actually, let's do that for the next one. This is without a key signature. No, let's go ahead and do it. If we wanted to write this scale with a key signature, we could just put a sharp here. Because remember, the key signature for G has 1 sharp. And then you can just write all your notes normal. And we just know that that F is sharp. So this G scale is the exact same as this one. This one we just used a key signature so that we know that that F is sharp. We just know. Let's write a D scale. And this one, let's start on the page. So a D scale. Here's a D. It's the D above middle C. I'm just going to pick that one. And you know, for any scale, if you're going to write a scale, you can start with just one of each letter of the alphabet, right? You know, whether they're sharp or flat or whatever, that you need some kind of D, some kind of E, some kind of F, some kind of G, A, B, C, D. Then you can think about your intervals. You know they have to go whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So then you can imagine the keyboard. If you have a good imagination, it's a good place to try and get. Or go use a real keyboard. That's what happens if I just play the white keys, D to D. One day we're going to get to where I'll tell you that that is a Dorian mode. But we need to change these intervals, right? Already it's wrong. We need a whole step and another whole step. So we need that F sharp. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. That's the other wrong one. Gotta raise that C to a C sharp. If you think kind of backwards, tonic, supertonic, mediant, subdominant, dominant, submediant, leading tone, tonic. The leading tone should always be a half step below the tonic. So sometimes instead of having to think all the way up the intervals, you can just think down and think of the leading tone having to be raised. So F had to be sharp and C had to be sharp. Let me play that slower. Okay, so what did I say? F had to be sharped and C had to be sharped, right? And there's a D scale. Let's keep on moving around the sharp side, and let's write an A scale, and this time let's just start off using a key signature instead. So if you remember the circle of fifths, which I hope you do, then you remember, sorry, I'm just really quick recreating a circle of fifths. Like I may have mentioned, oh, there we go. It's hard to hold this thing and write at the same time, at least for me. I think I said this. Great little bit of homework or something. Be able to reproduce a circle of fifths, just like that. And you have 1 sharp, 2 sharp, 3 sharp, 4 sharp, 5 sharp, 6 sharp, 7 sharps, or going around the flat side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 flats. And I talked to you guys about my mnemonic devices I learned from my 5th grade music teacher, Mr. Case. And my mnemonic devices for sharps is fat crabs go down and eat bears. So if I'm going to try and play an A scale, it's got 1, 2, 3 sharps, fat crabs go. And so if I'm going to make its key signature, there's an F sharp, a C sharp, and a G sharp. And then if I just write that key signature, I can kind of skip a step when I'm writing out the scale. And all I have to do is write one of each note. Sorry, my handwriting is extra bad when I try and write on a piano like this. It doesn't work for the way I hold a pen. So that's an A major scale. I didn't even have to really think about it. If I know the key signature, and I know there's 1 of every letter of the alphabet, thus 1 of every space line, space line, space line, space line, space, then I can just write the key signature, write a stepwise motion all the way up, and I got the scale. Still though, it's not that simple because you have to know when you're playing it, like this, that the C is sharp, because like, there it is. And you have to know that the F and the G are both sharp, because there they are. And when you play it, it looks like this. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. A lot of these scales on the sharp side, the best way to finger them is as I'm doing. You go thumb, pointer, middle, and then start over with your thumb. Thumb, pointer, middle, ring, pinky. And reverse it on the way down. Oops, I said I wasn't going to talk about that. Talk to your piano teacher about that. Also, don't tell my piano teacher about how bad my form is, because like, Yeah, I'm not teaching you how to play the piano here. Let's do some on the flat side. Let's skip around. We're not going to make every scale. Let's go ahead and make, say, an E flat scale. I like an E flat scale. Nowadays, we have something called equal temperament. In an equal temperament, every key just sounds the same as every other key, unless you have perfect pitch, and then still they sound kind of the same, but you can tell what key it is. That is, like I could play a melody in E flat and it won't sound like it has a different character than if I played it in C. It'll just sound higher or lower. But in the olden days, they hadn't figured out how to tune such that all the keys around the circle of fifths sounded good. And in fact, in the olden days, they didn't tend to get much further than halfway around if C is at the top. Around the time of Bach, they got better at making all the keys sound good, and that's why Bach has a couple monumental works called the Well-Tempered Clavier, well-tempered, like well-tuned, and it was kind of showing off like this tuning system where all the keys sounded good. It wasn't quite our equal temperament, but it was close. But in the olden days, the keys each sounded a little different and they had their own special character, and E flat was known as a heroic key, and it even is. Like Beethoven's Third Symphony is in E flat and it's called the Eroica, heroic. Part of it is because a lot of brass instruments play in the key of E flat. It's like E flat is their version of C. It's called transposing instruments. Very confusing. I'll probably have a whole video about that one day. Anyhow, so E flat, I always think of it as majestic. On the piano, let's look at it. Here's an E, so here's an E flat. And if I go whole, whole, half, I need to go whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So again, that was... Oops, let me do it all with my pointer finger so you can see it better. Right? So the notes I just played were E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat. Notice how when we talk about these in words, we put the flat after the letter, but when we write the notes, we put the flat before the letter. That's because when you're reading music, you kind of need to know that information before you go hit the key, right? But when you're saying it out loud, it doesn't really matter. So we don't say flat E, we say E flat, but we don't write E flat like E with a little flat superscript after it or something. Oh God, that feels bad just to even do. I have to cross that out so much. Yeah, we write the flat before the note, okay? Let's do another one, my personal favorite key. I'm not sure why, but I love the key of A flat major. And in the key of A flat major, let's form this one with a key signature. So A flat major is 1, 2, 3, 4 steps on the flat side of the circle of fifths, so it must have 4 flats. My mnemonic device from Mr. Case, my 5th grade music teacher, is bears eat and devour, good children forever. So bears eat and devour. B-E-A-D. B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. So I'm gonna write a key signature, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. There they all are. And then I'm gonna write my scale, one of each letter, starting on A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And so because these are in the key signature, every time I hit an A, it's really an A flat. Every time I hit a B, it's a B flat. Every time I hit a D, it's a D flat. And every time I hit an E, it's an E flat. And so it ends up looking like this. A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat. Oops. Beautiful. So that's how it's done. Kind of a basic building block skill of learning music and learning music theory is to be able to write all 15 major scales and be able to plunk them out on the piano. I don't care how you use your fingers, but if you get there, things are going to be a lot easier for you. Goodbye.